Well, today let's look at some superhero stuff. This is the original superhero Superman. This is from the Fleischer Studio cartoons. And they did, I think, 18 Superman cartoons starting back in '41. And look at this model sheet. Look how it's broken down into easy shapes, stick figure, blocks for the chest, head, and pelvis. And that's one way of looking at how to do superheroes. Another way is the Action Cartooning book by Ben Caldwell, one of my favorite books. And he breaks down everything into simple shapes. Here you get your materials list. Anyway, starts in the face, the nose, variations on the head and face. And his thing is more geared towards a humorous take on how to do superheroes, which is great. I like that approach. I love this guy's style, just playing with different shapes to make different types of faces. And it's the playing with shapes and volumes that gets you variety, gets you differences. And if you're trying to get some type of tongue-in-cheek humor, smart alecky humor, why not do something like this? I really like his approach. So I'm sure you can still find this book either as an actual book in print or as a Kindle, or even somebody might be selling it as a PDF somewhere online. How to draw basic poses, line of action, just like in the Preston Blair book. How to do walks, how to do jumps. Superheroes are always jumping, diving, going in to save the day. Here's one that's a guy that's setting up to fight. There's a guy with a torch there. So a lot of good stuff in this book. I highly recommend it. But back to Superman and the basics of this model sheet. Here's another couple model sheets. How to draw Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego. How to draw Superman's head. Basic shapes, simplistically broken down. Here we see a model sheet for, I guess it's an armored car, and this might be the bad guy's getaway car. And here, the most fascinating thing, storyboards. Very well drawn storyboards that are quite finished. Tonal variations. And there's like a bunch of these boards are from one of the cartoons. I guess this is Jungle Action or something like that. But look how finished they are. There's a model sheet for Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend, of course. How to draw her. Stick figure with solid head, chest, and pelvis. How to pose her. I don't know why they did one of her flying. I guess she got superpowers at some point. But at any rate, this is how they did the Superman cartoons, was based on model sheets like this. And I think they said they got animators who knew how to animate figures, and they got assistant animators that knew how to draw that figure in a finished state for inking and painting. And you might be saying, well, why does he look like that? Well, the reason is because when he was created back in '38, this is what he looked like. This is how simplistically Superman was drawn back in the early days. There's the cover of Action 1. And he didn't make the cover every time for a little while. But as you can see, the drawings are not very complicated drawings. They're stick figures with balloons wrapped around them for his limbs. Very simplistic drawing. Joe Shuster was the artist creator. Jerry Siegel was the writer creator. Joe Shuster's style was very simplistic, very cartoony, and he knew how to draw. He was no Michelangelo, but he knew how to get these action poses. And then as he got so busy, other guys had to take over. So a lot of these covers are by Fred Ray, who kept the simplicity there and certainly made the poses a lot better. Well, maybe not better, but different than what Joe Shuster had done. But all the covers read very clearly. All the poses are very clear as to what's going on. There's no doubt as to what action is happening here. But that's why this Superman model sheet looks the way it does, because he looked like this back then. So they made a model sheet that looked like what the comic looked like. And if you wanted to animate this character, you would start with just drawing him in very, very basic poses, and then pick out a pose of action that you want him to do. So let's see if we can give that a try. Move this up a little bit. And over, so you guys can see what I'm doing. So like I said, you want to start with a basic block for his head, and then he's got a short squat neck, and his chest probably this wide. And if you ever look at someone's chest, it's narrower in the front than it is in the back. And you can make a center line down like that. And then a pelvis right underneath it. And you can make that just a straight block like that. And then the legs would come out like this and down, like this and down. Knees on down. And then his arms, you exaggerate where his shoulders are. Like this, elbows, and his fists. Very simplistically done. Thick neck. He's probably got an 18-inch neck. And then you divide the head halfway, and then the nose would come here, and the mouth here. And you don't get hung up on the eyes, so they're just kind of slanted like that. Just a dash. And of course the curl down in front that makes him Superman. Like that. And straight across, and then hair on top. Those ears in there. Square jaw. My friend Barry calls it rock jaw. Probably down like that. And then his cape comes up here. This hangs straight down behind him. Now you'll notice in this version of Superman, it's not a very long cape. Comes just down like that. Then you can start filling in the rest of it. His belt, his symbol of the S. I guess in the movies or the comic, they made a big deal about this S being some kind of symbol from Krypton. Musculature there. Maybe his belt is up here. Mighty Legs of Steel. So when they were animating this, most of the animators were Popeye animators, so they knew how to draw action. But drawing straight human figure was not totally their forte as animators. They were used to drawing Popeye and Bluto. And it takes a certain type of artist that knows a bit about more about life drawing to do a finished Superman drawing. So they had to rely on assistant animators to make sure that the character looked right all the time. Big shoulders. The guy said that when they created Superman, the reason he had this costume is because they thought this is how a guy in the circus would dress. The circus strongman. And indeed, I think his first drawings might have had him wearing lace-up sandals, kind of like a Roman thing from way, way back. And a lot of guys in the circus would have a cape on to really stand out from the crowd. So there you go, a little basic Superman there. I might have made his chin a little bit too shallow. So let's see if we can make it come down a bit more like this. He has a very strong look to him by doing that. So there you go. Basic Superman. I ran off the page there a little bit. So next time we'll go through a basic thing of how to animate a Superman. So until then, we'll see you next time.